Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. Old beer time. Old beer time in the form of the Bruery's Mash 2013. That's right. I'm lucky enough to have a place close to me that someone must have been part of their hoarder society, and now they're just selling them out of their shop. And I they've merged with another like beer place and revamped their store, and I've been picking these up. Let's put it this way. I've been picking up drips and drabs of these bottles for the years, over the years. The last time I did a mash was a 2017 coconut mash from the brewery. I picked it up a couple years ago at the same place, but now it seems like they have a lot more stuff out, and I haven't been there in a while. I popped in, I saw this like line of hoarders beers, and I was like, let's go old, let's go basic, let's go mash. Now, what is mash? Mash is the brewery family brew, contains alcohol. You have to remember, these beers, they contain alcohol. It says it right there. It says mash is a barley wine style ale, barley wine, aged in bourbon barrels. Done. Done. This is 2013 edition, an English style classic with rich flavors from time spent aging in bourbon barrels. Story time on the back. They have their proprietary barcode label on here. I don't think it's covering anything. Anyway, mash is suitable for aging up to 2 years. Until then, please store in a cool, dark place. Ideal serving temperature, 50 degrees. It's probably right there. Please pour carefully, leaving the yeast sediment behind in the bottle. Best served in a tulip or wine glass. We're going cognac snifter. So yeah, these beers can age well beyond 2 years. Sometimes they can go sideways. Way earlier. Oh, well, I can say way earlier, but they can go sideways. Sometimes they can keep. The more moving parts, the more things can go sideways. Barley wine, barrel. ABV, 12.5. We're hoping. It's all about the hiss here. Let's see how I make out. Decent hiss. We'll see how we make out in the pour. Let's get under that cognac. We're going to give this a... Oh, we don't have to give it an aggressive pour because I already know it has a decent amount of carb left. Look at that. I was going to pour it so aggressively. Just try to get ahead of this sucker. And I did not need to do that. Let's cap this off. It's got a beautiful Merc ring on it. And here's for at least my 2 cents when it comes to buying aged beer. So when I talk about Merc ring, I talk about this thing on here for y'all. See that? See that distinct ring? That's the Merc ring. That was level on this. So when I looked this up in the bottle top, I poured it to the side and I could barely make it out because it's not like the Merc ring was super high or there was several Merc rings. There was just one, which for me means there was less oxygen getting into the beer, which means there was less evaporation. It wasn't moving over time. Not necessarily meaning it's going to be fantastical, but based off the pour and based off the kind of beer, we're off to a decent start. So yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I want my English barley wines to look like, especially with some time on it. It looks like just a rich, dark tea, iced tea. Like you put way too much powdered iced tea in, the Lipton 4C powdered iced tea, and you put too much in, you get a little sick because you put too much in there. It's got that color going for it. It has a beautiful toffee colored kind of head to it. It came out in the actual pour, but if I give it a whirl, it comes back. So this actually has a really nice carbonation going on. So at this point, we are quite excited. So give it another whirl. That rich, dark coffee color. Let's get those. I mean, that smells fantastic. It's not like this knee-jerk, like bring me to my knees. Knee-jerk, bring me to my knees. That's kind of weird to say it that way. But it has this nice richness to it. This figgy, datey, slightly sugar daddy confectionery thing going on. I don't get much, if any, kind of like overt oxidation to it. There's going to be oxidation in this beer. It's old. It's 750. It's going to have that on it. But there's not this like killer kind of oxidation to it. A bit of oxidation can actually be a positive in these kind of beers. Let's move that light. That'll make things look better. And yeah, I mean, the weirdest part about this beer, I will say this though, is there is a hop presence to this, and it's floral, which I did not expect for something that is 12 years old. Now, as far as spirits go, at this point in this age, yeah, I smell bourbon, but everything's melding together at this point. That's kind of the beautiful poetry of aged beers, that these beers over time, if they're aged right and aged properly, everything starts to become one. Everything starts to become cohesive to where it gets really, really difficult to separate the bourbon from the alcohol in the beer. It's a bigger beer, the spirit, the barrel, everything kind of merges together in a beautiful kind of symphony of deliciousness. It kind of has that vibe going for it. So you're getting those rich, again, date figgy sugar daddies, a little bit of bourbon on there, oak vibes, and that little floral characteristic. Kind of has me intrigued. Let's dive in. Cheers. That's weird. That is a weird beer. So, his has definitely lost its fastball. It is not the beer that it originally was, even years after. There's cool elements to this. That floral characteristic, which I can only attribute to a hop presence in here, is really vibrant for its age, and I'm just beyond, like, I'm like flabbergasted it still expresses itself like that. Very, very cool. It's thinner than I thought it would be. You know, it's lost its mouthfeel. Weirdly enough, it does have a decent carb on it, but it's more of a kind of like a champagne-y soda kind of mouthfeel, and to where it comes off. It doesn't have that softness, that richness that you typically want from a nice, rich English barley wine or a barrel-aged barley wine. There's a lot of oak left in this. There's a very drying component in here. It's probably a combination of oxidation and oak in this, but again, it's not an overt negative oxidation, so I'm not going to sit here and get angry at it. It's fun. It's such a fun beer. It's way past its prime. You know, it's not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and try to convince you this is some next level barley wine that's aged into something fantastical. But it's such a cool combination of flavors and an echo of what it was in the past. And yet you're getting this nice, rich kind of like a slightly caramelly, black strapy molasses kind of sweetness, the way the malt kind of comes off. The bourbon is still there. It's not hot, but you can taste that kind of bourbon component. Hefty oak tannins on this sucker. And that cool floral component from those hops. That's the wild card here. The thing that I did not expect to come out in this beer that's absolutely there in spades. In a super duper fun way. I like this. I like this as an aged beer experiment. You know, we jump to the end of this review and we say, is this Mount Rushmore status of barley wines or barrel-aged barley wines? No, it's not. It's not. It's not even close to that. But when we step back from that again, kind of talk about this as like a taste experiment, as like trying something that has aged. It's a fun thing because, listen, you know, if they had 10 of these on the shelf and I bought all 10 and I did a 10 side by side, I'm going to tell you, chances are I'd at least get some decent variants. Are all 10 going to taste the same? No. Are all 10 going to be markedly different? No. But I would say half, 5 would probably, there'd be some that are way worse off than this, and there might be one. There might, and this is the allure. This is the Venn diagram of sports betting or whatever you want to call it, hitting that big shot when you're least expected to. And I've done this in real time with these bottles from that same bottle shop. Some have got them been like, eh. Then every now and then I'm like, oh man, this thing is fucking amazing. You get that one hit, you get that one tickle of the itch, that aged beautifulness that you get. It's worth that squeeze, man. It's worth that squeeze, especially since these are going for cheap. You know, since these are a dice roll at this point, you know, they're cheaper than what they were when the person who originally bought them purchased them. I paid $19 for this. You know, I'll pay $19 for aged beer like this all the time because It's a fun experiment. I enjoy it. It's one of my personal little fun little things I do. But at the same time, it's also every now and then you hit that great one, and you hit that great one. Whatever you spend on all those mediocre ones, it's worth it. Um, and just a fun thing. I've had such a long and storied history with brewery beers. I've never been a society member or hoarder himself. I just never had that kind of want to find something in California, pack it up, ship it to me, do all those kind of things. But I've been lucky enough to have a lot of people have. So, over the past, what they've been around for 2008, 2008, I think the brewery's been around since. You're talking about, 15 plus 2 is 17. Math is hard. Um, you know, okay, I did that right? If it's 2008. I was just like, I thought I did math wrong. Anyway, I've been lucky to have these beers over the years, and they've been so great out of the chute. It's one of those things where like I'm so addicted to finding really old age great stuff that I kind of skew towards the old stuff. The place that had these had bottles from 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18. You know what I mean? They had like newer ones. You should probably flip the script and go for a newer one. See where that sucker lands. It'd be a fun little experiment. Maybe I'll try to find the same style a beer. Maybe one of their anniversary beers. The newest one I can find, the oldest one I can find. Do them side by side. They do the old pseudo cuvee kind of thing. So again, not the same beer, but it'd be fun to do. But I'm glad I cracked this. Again, when I do these reviews, it's not so much as like this place and is it the best, and it's more of a journey into tasting older beer and the experiences that come with it and how it tastes. And honestly, this is so fun to do stuff like this and to dive into something like this and just taste what it was, what it could be, what it is right now. It's kind of one of my favorite things to do in beer. So yeah, let's recap of actually talking about the beer. Mouthfeel, than it should be. Crazy weird floralness to this beer, which for me is kind of like the payoff on this. To have that flavor profile after all these years, super cool. Still getting the bourbon, crazy amount of octanes in the sucker, and just the way this beer expresses itself after all these years. I'm here for it in a very fun way. There you go. That's all I got. Mount Rushmore says, like I said, no value and availability. You're not gonna find them. And maybe find a place like I do, and or whatever, and leave you with. If you like, well, will you like this? If you like tasting old beer, you will like this. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the review. Massive Beers, if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massive, the podcasting stuff. Brewery. Been to the brewery, had their beers, had this beer. Had this beer fresh, had this beer old, had it very old, had it recently. All that fun stuff down below. Let's talk about it. Hopefully, you enjoyed the review. Hopefully, you're enjoying some old beer right now. See you next time. Cheers, y'all.